Yo, what up? My name's Jamican Banana. For those who don't know who I am, I'm a multi-season challenger Ivern OTP who has one-tricked Ivern since the release back in 2016. Today I want to give a rundown / TLDR of all the Ivern changes and my final opinions. Big shout out to Garbocan. He listed all the changes on Notepad from today from PBE. So thank you again for that. And let's go straight and talk about it, and I'll give my opinion at the very end. So first, Ivern's attack range gets increased by 50. Passive, Friend of the Forest. His clear speed is lower. It now takes, starting from level 1, 50 seconds for tapping a camp. Whereas live servers, it's currently 40 seconds, so an extra 10 seconds early game. So his early first couple clears will be longer than previous. HP and mana costs are higher, which back in, I believe, January or near the start of the season, they reduced his health and mana costs because of jungle not being able to start refillable potion. And since you can no longer start refillable, Ivern lost all his sustain from the jungle, which is why they lowered the health and mana, but it seems with the rework they are increasing it once again. Removing buff sharing, which is now going to be a future global mechanic for all junglers. Nothing will be replaced with that, it'll just be gone. And his channel timer for Friend of the Forest is also going to be longer by, I believe, 1 second. Which is, I think, total 3.5 on PB. Live is like 2.5. For Bushmaker, or at least Q, there's no changes for Q. For Bushmaker, Bush cooldown's pretty much halved. It's currently 40 seconds on live. On PB, it's like 20 seconds. Another buff is that reveals for 5 seconds, previously 3. And now Bushmaker also works on allies at a reduced damage rate. So I believe rank 1 is like 5 damage, and I think at rank 5 it becomes 20 damage for allies, which is different from Ivern's self on-hit effect. Bush is now despawn after 1 second off vision, which is a bit of a nice change for solo queue. Could be a little bit of a nerf depending on the way you see it. Moving on to Triggerseed. This is kind of the big part here. Triggerseed now repeats if no enemy champions get hit by the explosion, which, you know, you'll still get the shield if you hit minions, epic monsters, Dragon, Baron, Rift Herald. But if a champion doesn't get hit, you get the shield for 2 seconds longer. Increased cooldown by 1 second in all ranks, which is a pretty rough nerf since it is Ivern's main ability. You're also getting decreased shield AP ratio, shield strength minus 15% AP, which is also really big. Decreased shield strength is going down by 10% and minus 5 base shield per rank. Decreased damage, you're losing 10 base damage, which I believe last season, the season before, they already took off 20. So after this change, it'll be a total of 30 damage taken off Ivern Z, which is, again, also pretty rough. He already lacks significant damage, and being as a jungler, already having no damage, you have way less agency in the jungle. And then you also have a decreased damage AP ratio with your shield, which is also going down by 10%. And then moving on to Daisy. Daisy's initial knockup at longer ranges and will also be increased by Q, which means there'll be a larger circle around it, which you could spawn Daisy and knock people up. And if you hit a Q, you could spawn Daisy at any, regardless of the range, to that Q. So if you hit a max range root caller, you can knock up someone all the way from that Q with your ult, if your ult's up. Daisy also applies on-hit effects, Lichbane, Nashers, etc. Daisy is a shorter cooldown, which is very nice. Daisy no longer gets spawn haste, which is, as live servers, if you spawn Daisy, she gets bonus 3-second movement speed buff. She no longer gets that. Her third auto knockup is no longer range auto, which currently on live servers, if Daisy hits you 3 times and knocks you up, the third auto / knockup she can cast at a longer range to kind of hit people. Now she has to be directly on top of the person to actually throw the knockup, which is a pretty big nerf in my opinion. You can no longer kite with Daisy and hit someone with the knockup. Daisy's currently hard to control, which is, I assume, a PB bug, because I think they rewrote his code, so I'm sure that'll get fixed. Knockup is shorter, which is a pretty slight nerf. Daisy does less damage. Daisy's base AD at all ranks are down, and her AP ratios are also down. And that is all the changes for Ivern's PBE changes. My final thoughts are, a lot of these are nice. A bit of it is disappointing, especially the E. A lot of the E changes. Losing base shield strength and base damage on top of double AP ratios. So total of 4 nerfs, I guess 5 with the increased cooldown. Having 5 nerfs to Triggerseed, which is Ivern's again main ability, just for your shield to last 2 seconds longer if no enemy champion gets hit, feels pretty bad. Because I feel like Ivern's main strength comes from a shield. Having a smaller shield and then, having less incentive building, some sort of APMs on him feels even worse, especially if items like Serpent's Fang in the game. And the other big issue that I didn't really like on PB was the clear speed. Waiting 50 seconds for a camp in this current state of the game where a lot of junglers can clear really fast. Junglers can full clear 3 camp into clearing the camps again. It feels unrewarding to pick Ivern in the jungle with the clear speed slower and the health and mana cost lower, since Ivern's like pretty much one of the only junglers in the game who can't really sustain at all. If Ivern's low HP, he just has to recall and force. So making his health and mana back higher again makes him feel very uncomfortable in the jungle. With all these changes, I feel like he's going to be better more in a lane than jungle, which is pretty sad because he's designed to be a jungler. So I would hope in the future, if Riot plans to kind of change him before it hits live servers, is changing / buffing the mana and health costs and lowering it. Reverting the clear speed slow. I think 40 seconds is already pretty demanding. I don't think it has to be longer. And then possibly reconsidering the Triggerseed changes, because again, 5 nerfs to his E is not an amazing trade-offer for the shield repeating, which the main factor of Ivern is kind of shielding your front line, shielding melees, and getting the damage in slow pop. I understand that Riot wants Ivern to be more flexible and being able to shield range champs as well, but this is definitely not the path I like to see where it's going. It feels overall just way more nerfs than buffs, and after playing it and testing on PB, like, I feel like live server Ivern is a lot more smoother, a lot more fluid, and overall just a lot more enjoyable to play. Feels a lot more stronger. So those are my thoughts and opinions. Thanks for watching. See you guys around.